Everybody hear me now. I just posted a new link. Yep. Now we're in here. Now we're cooking with gas. Now here we go.
I'm out.
You're out or you're back?
All right, Bill, when you went in there and created this, you create and then did you create under live stream, not recording?
Yes, I created under live stream.
That's correct. And then you go into the studio and click your
Yep.
photo.
And then it gave me go live up in the right hand corner. So we're live now.
Okay, so are you able to get the people from YouTube over?
Yep, they're already coming over.
Cool.
Yep. Good evening, everybody. Sorry about technical difficulties again, but it's a learning curve. So I'll get it right sooner or later. Can you hear me good, Charlie?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Who do we have in here tonight? There's Jack and Danette.
I don't see anybody. Private. Oh, there we go. I'm on the right one now. I was on comment or private chats.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Private chat.
David Hoskins. Iowa Lanes Beekeepers.
See ya. All right, everybody's here. Cool. Yep. Hey, Brad.
So how's everybody doing tonight? Did y'all have a good weekend? How about you, Trey, Darren? Yeah, I had to pin a new link, Darren. Come on in if you want to.
What did you find, Bill? Was it the way you set it up, or?
No, the way I had it set up, I was logged into the wrong StreamYard account.
Okay.
Evening, Ron.
Hey, Jack, Jeanette. How many we got on here tonight?
Let's see. I don't know.
All right. I can see the new link. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, DCBs.
All right. I have to cut that off. DCBs.
Hey, Mike. James, how are you?
Yeah, I got 17 watching, it says.
Yep. So what have you been
Hey,
in?
Mike,
What have you been up
Jack,
to, Charlie?
huh?
What have you been up to?
Huh?
What have you been up to?
This week I started feeding and I'm on my, I don't know. Let's see, I've dropped in 60 gallons. I get, well, no, I did 80, 90, 100, about 100 gallons of fluid in. I've, 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 I'm feeding on my third tank full. It's got about 20, 25 gallons in there right now. Not take, of course, I don't have as many highs, so I'm not taking as much fluid per tank full, but also I think this year the bees, hey, Catherine, the bees have um, stored a lot more honey in there and they're not going to take as much.
No, they're slowing down on the feed. So ours are too. So
They're slowing down on the feed this year. So,
yep.
doing that. And let's see what else. I finished up the Formic Pro. I was checking mite drops on just on the boards just to check, and some hives had a lot of drops, some of them didn't. And that kind of stuff. Farming wise, my son, I guess he planted, I guess it's been about 40 acres of hay. And here got it just before we got rain today, which is good.
Yeah, it is. I pinned the link while ago.
He,
I'll do it again.
yeah, DC, I think so. But on the other hand,
It's coming again.
do what
Yeah, I'm gonna pin the link again.
in the link?
Yep. He said he didn't think it was pinned, but I pinned it again just so they could get it. Did you get it that time, JW? It's pinned on the YouTube.
You should be. There's 20 watching on there. It says
Yeah.
on the YouTube part of it.
Yep. Not saying hey Darren, I just reposted it.
On the old one?
No, the current one.
Oh, okay.
Not pinning.
Mine. Did you put the go into your thing and where it says invite on StreamYard?
Yep.
Click on that. It'll pop a screen up and then say copy. Got that?
Yeah.
Then go back to YouTube and click it into that chat and then hit the send.
Paste. Send. And then you click the three buttons.
I don't see it in listed yet.
It should be there now. It's in there twice. And it's pinned at the top.
You're not. You got.
And I just pinned
There it is.
Here. I just put it here.
That's where you want it. All right, now click on the three dots on YouTube side and pin it.
It says it's already pinned, Charlie.
Mm.
Pinned there twice. There's Darren.
Darren, did you?
Darren.
Is it pinned on your YouTube, Darren?
It is now. I think that last pin worked.
Okay.
I don't see it on mine.
I think you might have been putting it on the other stream.
There's
Yeah, I know.
JW.
Yeah, it's on there now, fellas.
I don't know. I'm gonna check out on that one. I'm gonna go on this one here.
There's different dates on the YouTube channels that say live on my YouTube. I set some up ahead of time.
Yeah, I usually just set it up a couple days ahead of time.
Hey, Catherine.
I still don't see it. I
Mm.
see it in YouTube. I see it's live. It's just us. Now hmm.
What you
Yeah,
been
we
doing
just
today?
pinned in the comments. It's where it's not up at the top, Charlie. It's just was just.
Yeah, I
pinned.
see it. It's not on my screen. It's not on the top either.
I don't know where he's going to riot.
Now, Bill, did you go up and click? You're using Microsoft or whatever it is, Chrome or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you go up there where it says StreamYard and click on another plus sign to give you another tab, I guess you'd call it, and go through YouTube?
Yeah.
Went fishing this morning, Darren.
Did you? How'd you do? Not going to talk about it.
Well, I had a good start, but it got rained out after about an hour. So I had 3 nice crappie and about a 4-pound channel cat.
Oh, that's nice.
I turned them all loose. I seen I was
Thanks,
going to get
Catherine.
rained out and lightning, so I headed for the
See,
house.
people are seeing it now.
It's not there in my screen. How are you going back to? Do you have capabilities doing a split screen between on your computer?
No, because I only have one small screen. If I
Okay,
do it. If I split the screen, I won't be able to see anybody or read anything.
right. Well, if you go back from the StreamYard and then you go back to the additional tab, which would be if you got StreamYard up and then on the top right hand corner, you have new tab. You click on that, click on YouTube, and then you'll see us in the YouTube studio where it says live. You
Yeah.
click on that. If you'll toggle between StreamYard and then, like I say, you go and do the invite, click copy, toggle back to YouTube, paste it in the chat bar, and then it should pop up.
Place pin message. Message pinned.
I don't see anything.
Should be pinned in YouTube.
It said, what'd you say?
It should be pinned in YouTube.
Nothing. They can put it in the StreamYard chat thing and click it there. There it is there.
No.
All right. Now it's in YouTube. Now
Yeah.
pin it. See if you can pin it.
It says unpinned message. It works. The link works.
Yeah. Yeah, the link does work. You're going to have to make me an admin.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, if anybody wants to come in, come on in, click the link. How's it going, Darren?
Good. Going to bed here pretty soon.
Yeah, I've got to leave talk, so I just come on to see if I could get on, Charlie. I'm gonna leave on too. I just picked it up off of his, it was in the chat. It
Mhm.
wasn't up at the top.
Well, anyway,
Charlie, I ended up ordering some Formic Pro. Wasn't going to do it, but I think I have to now after doing some mic checks. So,
hey, Lisa. Well, it should be fine. You put it on there and
yeah, it's cool. It's going to be cool enough. But
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool now.
yeah,
Got some rain coming though.
right.
Yep.
Well, we got some rain today, or it's very light, misty showering, I guess is the best way. It's not really a rain or anything, but it's nice.
And that's kind of what I've been hoping for, some light rain like that, so my grass will grow. Because I planted grass seed.
Well, that's what my son did Saturday and Sunday, I guess it was,
Yeah.
and all that. But like I say earlier, hey David, David's down in Roanoke, huh? Anyway, the bees are doing pretty good. I've had like one feeder that was where the bees got into it somehow. But I don't know. I strapped the new lid down on it, see if that would keep them out of the top hive feeders. That's the only one I have a problem with. And like I said earlier, I had fed them, and I fed them on a Saturday and never got back till Monday. So it's been 2 days. Usually, in past years, 6 hours I'd have to be filling everything back up, but it seemed like like you say, they've slowed down quite a bit. A lot of honey out there later this year. They packed it away. So I think I made up another batch of sugar water. So I think that's probably going to be my last batch. We'll see.
Yeah,
I got. We fed last weekend, and they're not doing bad. They're ready for winter. That's for sure.
Right. Now, Roy, you said you switched up to ApriGuard. I mean, I listened to Bob Benny. Is now the time not to be running that, shutting the queen down or whatever? I think I've seen a little bit of queen shutting down with my Formic Pro that was on there.
Bob has pulled all of his ApriGuard off by now.
Who has? You have?
Bob Benny.
Oh, yeah. I don't see how he's putting it on when he's in northern Georgia where it's hotter. That it's got to be hotter there than it is here.
Well, he's using a half coat.
Charlie, how do you do your forming? Do you do like the dual 2 treatments, or did you just do the one?
One.
You put in like
If
one pad.
My thing is this: if it's between 70 and 80 degrees for the first 4 days, you put it in there, and low humidity. Like I'm pretty sure right now there's low humidity, and your temperature is what 70 to 80 during the day.
Yeah.
So
The high today was what, in the mid-70s?
yeah, I mean, I take the satchel out, I open it up, you tear the 2 pieces apart, and you put them, kind of. I usually the way I looked at mine, I was counting it while I was doing the video. I was 2 frames in from either side, so it and go across the frames.
So you did the 14-day treatment.
Yeah, 2-week treatment.
Yep.
I've always done that. And this week or this year, I did an experiment where I got those 5-frame nukes. In the last couple of years, I put a pad, take one satchel, cut it, take it and, split the 2 pieces apart, like where they tear. I put one pad on each nuke, and it's always worked good for me. I've never had any queen issues or anything else. But like I say, temperature and humidity is what I watch like a hawk.
Yep.
This year I had a pad where it was like I didn't have an extra hive. So it was a good strong nuke. It was 5/5 plus a medium up on top, a honey super. And I put a pad on top of every deep, and I haven't had any, and she's fine and all. Now, whether I got lucky, I don't know. But I'm fine with that. Are you got double deeps, is it, Darren?
Yeah, but I got a couple nukes and that I split this summer, and 2 of them are they're still weak in population. And I just saw in the instructions that you shouldn't use that on a weak hive. I'm wondering like what's going to happen if I do that.
Half
I might-
it.
So I might.
Well,
I might-
is it a double deep nuke or is it just a single?
They're doubles.
And are they populated from the top to bottom, or?
No, I'm going to say I probably got about 4 frames of bees in those nukes. Not a lot.
I don't think I would put them on that.
No. Not unless you halved it or quartered it.
Can you half them? Can you cut them like that?
Yeah, you can cut 'em.
Not sure how that works, but yeah, I would say 4 frame. I'll put it to you this way: I had a nuke that was building up the queen, like you said, about 4 frames of brood in there. The one thing I forgot is take the front instance reducer out, because I had reduced it down to keep any robbing down if there was anything for defense of the hive, and I missed it, and I cooked them. I put a whole thing on there, so I was hesitant to put it on there, and I should have never put it on. I should have just left her go. But I'd be hesitant on that.
Yeah, maybe I'll just, I don't know, use oxalic acid on those smaller hives.
I think might be a good idea. Have you used those Zappy tablets yet, Darren?
Yeah, I used them last year, and I used them. I have them on a couple hives this year.
I ordered a case of them.
Did you really see any major difference with them or anything?
I want to say that I did, but yet at the same time, my bees didn't really go, didn't really take to them. They weren't really consuming it. So I don't know.
In the winter time?
It was in the winter time, but I also had sugar on them too. So that's probably why the bees didn't consume them. But I can't say whether or not it did anything for my bees or not. I wanted to say yes, but I'd have to use it again.
It'd be good.
I think that if I had Aprivar on there in July and August and throw that tablet on there along with that, I think it's more of a thymol treatment is what it amounts to. I think the bees might have went after it and consumed it better. and all. I'm not sure. I don't know whether I could get a better, kill out of it using it at that time of the year. I don't know. I put them on. They're on there right now. Of course, I'm feeding. Yes, I'm not worried. I'm not going to bust boxes open now. I'm done.
That might be why they backed off your food a little bit, Charlie.
Well, it could be. I never thought about that. But
I just don't know how's it doing anything if the bees aren't even consuming it. It
I don't know.
can't be.
Yeah, Roy, the top temperature is 85, but I would never use it when it's 85 degrees.
No.
As far as formic goes. But the thing of it is, Roy, is that a lot of folks I know will get in there. Oh, we're going to get 3 or 4 days. And then after that, it's going to be 90 degrees. And then they'll say, well, they'll lose about 5 or 10% of their queens. And so far, I've used it for at least 2 years now, if not more, 3 years. I've never had a queen issue that I can say it was from that. But I always make sure it's 80 degrees or less.
Yeah, for at least the first 3 days.
At least for the first 3 days or 4 days.
And then
Yeah, it's a blast off producer.
After that, your temperature can go up. But they recommended that after the first 3 days, less than 85.
Yeah. And so, like I say, I have never had any queen issues. I talked to the guy that's, I think, at the United States rep, and question him. And I talked about the humidity, and he said that has no effect to it. But I disagree with him on that. I think that you got an acid there and humidity. Let's face it. If it's 90 degrees and you have high humidity, it feels like it's 105 degrees. To us, in far as temperatures. Well, it's got to do the same thing with that acid. It's got to intensify it. So that's my personal take on it. And I think it's a good product. I mean, I definitely seen some mites come out of my hives this year on the drop board.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not every one of them was bad like that, but some of them were. And then my inspector was here doing a National Honeybee Survey the week. She was here on a Tuesday, let's say. That Saturday, we were taking the our Aprivar out. And she asked me, are you going to back this Aprivar up with another product? And I said, I am. Because she said, I'm seeing mites on some of the drone larvae that was in the hive at the time, along with some other stuff. So I'm not real he's saying the hives are regulating the inside temps. Well, yeah, no. They can only regulate so much. I'm just telling you my experience, Roy. That's the main thing. But anyway, she was concerned that the mites or the Aprivar wasn't doing all that great. And I don't think it is. I mean, you can listen to Ian on this latest video. He's not real happy with it. Of course, I don't sound like anything he's doing up there right there this year is really working for him. And
I was kind of surprised when I saw those mites, because usually Aprivar works pretty good for me. And then I only use the the sugar roll or the sugar shake, so I don't even use alcohol. And I was getting like 5s and 6s, and I thought, reality, it's probably maybe more like double that. And that's after like a treatment of Aprivar. So I got to do something.
Well, I don't rely on one product. I mean, I
Right.
treat with 3 different products
Yeah.
throughout the season.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't rely on just one.
Yeah.
One treatment's not going to do it for you.
No, that was back in the old days. I was
Yeah.
When I started, you went and you treated in September and you were done.
that's what, yeah.
Right.
You know, and then I had Sammy Ramsey come to my club about 3 months prior to him getting his PhD. Actually, he was literally writing it in the parking lot at the church where we were meeting at. And anyway, he was the new kid on the block and never heard him before. I had heard him at another club over in the next county over. And anyway, he said, yeah, he says, y'all treated in September and come next March, they all died, right? And we're like, yeah. And he says, well, you treated too late. You should start in July and treat July through August and September, because you got to get 2 brood cycles of bees cleaned before the 3rd brood cycle, which is going to be your winter bees, are going to be as clean as possible. And his, you know, his analogy was, he said, you know, you treated in September, the bees were loaded with mites, and they were infected, I'll say, with viruses and stuff. And they were like cancer patients. And he said they kept going and kept going and kept going until they said, hey, we just can't, we're done. We can't go any farther. And they would die in March. That was his analogy of it. And after that night, it was like, it was just like almost information overload, but it was like my whole varroa mite treatment program, which was just 1 treatment per year, just went out the door, and a completely new program I come up with. And it still took me a while to figure out. I mean, I've got some posts right now on some of my club members, not my club, but another club I belong to. And, I finished up my OA. And I'm like, that's nice, but you didn't do anything, because there's frames and frames and frames of brood in there. And 80% of your mites are underneath the cappings. It took me a long time to finally listen to the science people about that. It took me a long time to listen to the science people and say, you need to treat your bees with OA more or less in the wintertime when there was 90% brood less,
Yep.
where most of it's thoracic, and you'll have a 98% kill with oxalic acid at that point in time. Because
Yep.
I started, after Sammy's thing, I said, okay, I'm going to do, I think I did Aprivar. Then I started in September. And I would do 6 or 7 weeks, all the way to the end of October until the time change. And where we would fall back on, standard time. And 1 year I did it every week. And then the next year I said, well, I'll do it twice a week. I'll catch all them mites coming out of them cappings, and all that. That was my theory. And then that next year, it's like, some people said I overtreated. And I said, and other people, and it's like, I wasn't able to catch all the mites coming out of the cappings.
Yeah.
And so that didn't work. So then years ago, I started with Mite Away Quick Strips. Now, see, we didn't have the internet. And it was like, okay, well, do you put the IPM board in on a screen bottom board or not? Do you, do the open, the open entrance 100%, and knowing that information. And then some of them used to say, put an empty super up on top to give them more space. And they were, all over the hive, and I wasn't used to all that. And I was kind of scared after that with that Mite Away Quick Strips. And I think Mite Away was a little bit more, I'll say, aggressive compared to Formic Pro.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Mite Away's gone away.
Well, it's over. I mean, they quit making it now, but it was more aggressive. I think it was more potent.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
So Roy's got asking me what my APM rotation is. It varies, Roy, but typically we treat in January or the first quarter of the year with OA. We vaporize it. We try to hit January somewhere in that month because there's no brood on the hive. So we either vaporize or fog in January. We hit them again the end of March, first part of April with Formic Pro. And then August, end of July, August, we hit them with Apiguard because of the temperatures. And then we hit them again September, October with either OA or Formic Pro. Depends on our mite count. And that's typically what you find here in the Valley, unless you get a hold of some traditionalists that only treat with one treatment, and that's OA in either January or in the fall. And if they treat with OA in January, it's the drizzle. But that's typically what we do, and we have pretty good mite counts every year when we get inspections done. So this is my highest one this year. I had 2. So.
yeah, now see Doug there, Longman Aitmer, he's up in Saskatchewan, and that's the problem I see with folks up in Canada is that their honey season and their bee season in general is so compressed.
Yep.
And that was something I asked Brad from Faith Apiaries up there in Manitoba. I said, you guys, at this point, we should be with our bees at this point. In so many weeks, we should be at this point. And I mean, there are right, like timing it right to the to the T and all that. And they have to do it that way. They don't have any, what would you say, fluctuation time in there at all, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they move from one thing right into the next.
Yes.
They can't. They don't have the luxury of time like lower 48 does because, well, even Darren, it's Pennsylvania, when it gets cold, it's cold. When it gets cold here in the Valley, it's cold. But I do have, and I'm sure you do too, that luxury of time where, well, I don't feel like going to treat today. I'll treat tomorrow. Well, they can't do that in Canada. So.
Yeah. So anyway, like I say, I do that, and then throughout the wintertime, see, that's another thing up here in Canada there. Their winters are so harsh. They really can't get out there like what we can. We have cleansing plates throughout the winter.
Yeah.
They don't have anything like that at all.
Yeah.
It's got to be done prior to whenever it starts snowing, and that's it. They're done for the year.
Yeah.
And until springtime, and then it's still snowing in their springtime. But yeah, Darren, I would do full dose on the Formic on the big hives, and then I would do some OA throughout the winter.
Yeah, that's what I do. I remember back because we were talking about how back in the day you treated once a year with OA, and I remember our bee club president. He said, he had 50 years of beekeeping experience, but every year, we come back in the spring for the first meeting, and he'd say, what was your bee loss? And everybody raise their hand, and 20, 30, 40%. Every year, like he lost his bees, like 50% of them. And he was the one he was supposed to know what he was doing. And I thought that, looking back on that like that, just that one Varroa treatment a year, just no wonder everybody was struggling so much back then. It was just,
yeah.
Well, when did you start keeping bees, Darren?
It's been 12 years. So.
Okay.
Well, and prior of all that, I'll say 20 years ago or more. I mean, I talked to like Lloyd, who's been at it for 50 years. The damn tracheal mites was just they didn't know what to do with that. And they
Yeah.
had grease patties and all these different things, and they were pulling straws to try to keep their bees alive. And then it seems like I don't know what happened. It either went away naturally, or maybe with oxalic acid or something like that, it started killing the tracheal mites or cleaning them up. I'm not sure.
I don't know. We used to put peppermint oil and spearmint oil in them if we had trach mites in the hives.
And did that work?
It seemed to. Like, you never know, but it seemed to work. They seemed to get better. But I'm talking about in the 70s. So
Yeah.
we didn't have varroa mite to worry about when I started.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I first started, you treat it once and the mite counts could be high and you were okay. And it seemed like the bees would get through. Earlier, the first 3 years, I didn't treat anything because I didn't, treatments were not talked about in depth. They would sit there and say, well, you can do this and do that and do this. But they didn't say, well, this is what it does. This is when you should do it. And we don't, and like we're here talking about, temperatures and all the, fine tooth points about it. They didn't do anything like that.
Did you use one of those pans, Charlie? Those, you hook it up to the battery and you slip it underneath.
Yeah, I started out with that. Yeah.
I have one of those things. Those things are so worthless. And I'd pull that thing out half the time. It would only burn halfway. So I never knew how much how much of a treatment.
I think the pans, and when I would load that, they were, I just loaded it. I just filled the damn thing up and stuck it in there.
Yep.
And blocked it in there and hook it up to the battery. And on average, it was about 10 minutes per hive.
I know. Those were some of the most painful beekeeping afternoons I ever had in my life. Like, oh my God. You just stand there and wait for that stupid thing to burn. And then I was always afraid I was going to catch my hive on fire. And what am I going to do if I catch it? Because there's all these stories about people, those pans, people catching their hive on fire. And I'd have a fire extinguisher in the truck just in case. And
I never had that problem.
Believe it or not, wax is flammable.
Yeah.
Wax and propolis is flammable.
But I don't know when the Provap came out, and so I forget who was selling them things at the time. I guess it was Man Lake when they first come out.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and I actually got a grant for some stuff and that year, and from the local. So I went ahead and bought a Provap, and then I ran it on my pickup truck through a converter thing, and then it would take a while for it to heat back up, even with the truck running and all that stuff. And then I was talking to an electrician about it, and he said, you can have a 5,000 watt converter, but that doesn't mean it's giving it 5,000 watts. It only can convert 5,000 watts at a time.
Yeah.
And he said after a while, your alternator is going to go wacko on it because what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's when I spent $1,200, I guess it was, for a Honda. It's a generator, but it's the other style of generator, which is like true current. They call it, what is it? True current or something like that.
Yeah. True.
One of the inverters.
Huh?
So got the inverter.
The inverter.
It's
an
clean
inverter.
current is what it is.
Clean current. That's it.
Yeah. So Flower Street Farm Bees, I sell the Robbie vaporizers. So, and I also use them. I swear by them because the battery operated, and it about 30 to 40 seconds per hive, and you're done. And you move on to.
And that's with what, 6 grams of oxalic acid in there?
2 to 4.
Well, that's the thing. I seen Duck River on there Sunday, and he had them 15 amp hour batteries. Their damn batteries are $400 a piece. And I'm like, and he bought 2 of them. He needs a couple more. And I'm like, but I'm like, I looked at the battery operated. I mean, if you're going for the first time, I guess the battery's the way to go. I got the generator. I said, I'm not, the money you spend in batteries, I'll just spend it in the generator. I know I got electricity. Of
Yeah.
course, I can drive my generator at my hive. So that makes a huge difference.
But I can take that one battery and go through 15 to 18 hives. Small hive, they get 2 grand. Big hive, they get 4. I can go 15 to 18 hives and be done with all the hives in the main apiary area in 20 minutes.
Yeah. So, anyway, like I say, I just keep what I got. That's what I've spent, and I'm not converting over. But then on the other hand, I always have a problem is that every time I go for a drill, the darn battery's dead. And, of course, everybody else is using it too. But
Yeah.
so I get tired of that type of situation. And then I heard Cayman talking about the hive lifter. He's got the same one I got. He's only used it so many hours. Now the battery's dead and whatever, in it and stuff like that. But I never seen him use it that much. I mean, the hive lifter is, if it's flat ground, it's a nice machine. But if you're on a bunch of hills or whatever, you got to have the right kind of area for that machine to work pretty nice.
Yeah, you do. You can't be on hills. You got to be fairly flat, fairly smooth.
Yeah.
I thought about a lifter like yours, but my yard is too slanted to do it, I think.
And like Brian Air Flower Street, and he's right. He's got, backyards and stuff that he's got to walk around. You can't drive in there. I mean, that's where the battery operated machine shines. And if it's like you say, when it's you, and that you're running this machine and you're going to have probably 2 charging stations, let's say you have 4 batteries, you're going to make sure if you're going to run that machine the next day, all batteries are in the charging station, or they're going to be hot and ready for the next day and all that. So it makes a difference. When I'm grabbing batteries, there's multitude of charging stations, and half the time the batteries are not in there.
Yeah, I went to a mentee's house this weekend to help him put his treatments in, and his hives are set up. One end of his hives are 6 inches off the ground, and the other end is 18 inches off the ground. Just across that span of the hive.
So what's he got up on the hillside of a mountain or whatever?
Oh yeah, it's a hillside.
Well, I have a guy that I help out, and it's on the bank. He built basically like a porch, and then he set his hives on the porch, and you can walk on this platform behind him. What kills me, because I'm used to having a stand like the ones behind me there. Those stands, let's see, 5.5. They're about 8 to 10 inches up off the ground. So they're 10 inches higher up into the air for me. It's not so bad. I put them low to the ground because of putting honey supers on them. And then on my nukes, I'm 18 or 20 inches up off the ground. And I can, I'm walking up behind them. They're right, I don't have to bend over or anything. And everything's bending over at the time I get done. I'm like, my back is killing me with his setup.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump off. I will see you guys next time.
All right, Dan. Good to see you. See you Friday night. Right?
All right.
You got to come in Friday night.
Friday night. Yep. I'll see you.
All right.
So how steep of a hill is your yard on?
I don't know.
Something's going to work well on uneven ground.
None of them do really at all. DC, I think is. I think he's out in Washington State, aren't you, DC? Hey, Carl.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tar Heel. Time is money. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Southwest Washington.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's getting out near the coast. On the coastal side of Washington. Should be fairly flat out there.
No, most of the time it didn't.
45 minutes north of Portland.
I know my cousins live out there and they're pretty steep areas.
Yeah.
Go ahead and post that link in the thing again. It's not on the one I'm looking at. Now see if you can pin it. Once it gets past the stupid heart.
No, I'm still showing it pinned up there, Charlie. Let me remove it.
There, now can you pin it?
Maybe. Do you see it now?
I see it, but I don't see it pinned at all.
It's there. It just, I don't know why you can't see it, Charlie, but it's there. It's
Yeah,
pinned.
I see it in YouTube, but I don't see it pinned anymore.
All right. So has anybody else got any questions, comments, suggestions? Has everybody pulled their last bit of honey so far that they can get?
And Brian needs and Randy at Tar Heel, they're looking about working on getting a SERP system set up. I presume you're mixing it. And all.
What
Yeah,
kind of, how big of a SERP system are you looking for?
I guess about mixing it, I guess is what they're saying. Like I have a 55-gallon drum. It's a honey drum, but I mix 40 gallons at a time. And all that.
Because we draw SERP directly out of tote.
Yeah, you got, what is it, Pro Suite?
No, I've got some Pro Suite, but it's right now it's fructose syrup. And I've got a 40-gallon tank with an air-driven pump on it, and there's an air compressor on it and a generator. And we just pull up to the hive and fill it like we're filling a gas tank.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, you got a 10-gallon water cooler. Yeah, I know what you mean there. I would say you need to go and watch these guys at like they got them 55-gallon drums, usually they're plastic, and they got like Joey. Joey has a perfect example where down in Louisiana where he's got a submergible pump. He's got it plumbed where it's coming up and across and back down, and it's making a swirling motion.
Yeah.
And you can put some hot water in there and mix it real quick. And then use the pump with a valve, butterfly valve, and another valve that you could hook up a hose to, a garden hose, and then pump it out of that 55-gallon drum over into 5-gallon buckets or whatever you want to try to use. And all.
Roy, the pump is a diaphragm pump, so it runs at a steady, slow pace. It doesn't come out real fast, and it's whatever you set the air regulator on the air compressor for that pump. You get so many gallons a minute. I think it's 3 to 5 gallons a minute.
You say it's an air operated pump?
Yeah, it's a diaphragm pump, double diaphragm pump.
Well, I got a diaphragm pump, but it's one of them little ones. I looked at it today, 2.4 gallons per minute.
Yeah,
little sprayer pump.
Yep. It's a double diaphragm. It's got a 1-inch inlet and a 1-inch outlet, same size as the gas hose.
And where do they normally use that pump at? In a milking parlor or something?
No, they use it for pumping oil and diesel fuel and heavy grease.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true. Now, what do you have? An air compressor on your truck in order to?
It's on the pallet with it.
Okay.
The small air compressor.
What's it, like a pan air compressor, or is it like a regular?
Oh, it's a tank.
Tank.
Yep. It's a 48-inch pallet. 40, I think it's 42 by 48.
Yeah, the tank that I have in the back of my truck is from it's 40-gallon sprayer tank is what it was from Tractor Supply. But
yeah.
I've looked on Tractor Supply and I don't find that tank anymore.
That's where I got mine. Was Tractor Supply. You have to go in and ask for it. And there's some Tractor Supply stores that don't carry them anymore.
I looked online looking for the 40-gallon sprayer tank, and they got like 20 and 30 and stuff like that. I don't want that. And then I know they used to have some 50s in there.
You're going to have to make a trip to Woodstock.
Huh?
You're going to have to make a trip to Woodstock to get a tank. Because they got them down here. Spray tanks. It's an oval spray tank.
Hey, Rick. Yeah, anyway, that's what I got set up on mine. Somebody bought it, returned it, and I got it for half price. like $90. They wanted one with booms on it. And this just had a spray nozzle. And I cut the spray nozzle off and put a quarter turn valve and little pipe and all that stuff.
What size is the hose?
Well, it's 3/4 maybe, something like that. It's not much. It's a small sprayer hose. Maybe it's an inch hose. But that's a different Woodstock.
No, not Woodstock, New York. Woodstock, Virginia. The other Woodstock.
Yeah. I know some folks that a friend of mine, he's older. I guess he's at least, I guess he was 10 years older than I was, but he had framed tickets. He kind of like a collector, also an antique dealer guy. Anyway, he had Woodstock tickets in a frame. I think they were tickets he had bought. I mean, he went to Woodstock and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're right about the diaphragm pumps. They're smoother than the pass-through pumps, but a lot of people hook up these big trash pumps to them and feed them that way, and it just that's a whole lot of pressure that you don't need.
Mm-hmm. The only problem I have with that little diaphragm pump I got, it will not pump thick material.
Yeah, is yours a plastic frame or is it steel frame? Oh,
Plastic frame,
yeah, okay.
plastic housing. Yeah, the collapsed RV is still there. Yeah, my brother got that from a guy down the road. What the heck did you bring that home for? Oh, they were gonna fix it up, him and this friend of his, young boy, and that never happened. Never happened.
Yeah.
So now it's more of a trash hole than anything else. And then the Chevrolet truck there is a C70 cab, and we had two trucks that were twins, and we took two trucks and made one here back in the last downturn we had. I think it was in 08. So
The RV is what Charlie went to Woodstock in.
yeah, right.
Well, you should be old enough to remember Woodstock.
Yeah, I remember it on the TV, but I don't know what year was that.
60.
68, 69.
Yeah, 67, 68, 69, something like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I could, but I like trailers are always a pain for me, Carl. I got it set up. I'm right where I want to be right now, I think, as far as the amount of hives. And I got one location, which is that right there. And all that. And so I got it tuned in pretty darn good.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, once you get these things tuned in and you're used to them, you don't make many changes to them at all.
yeah, a friend of mine out in DC, he turned an old gasoline school bus into a camper and all.
Yeah, people do it all the time. That's where they got the idea for these big coaches.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he had one. It had bathroom in the back and bunks, and he had a bunch of kids and stuff. And then he had a regular sink in there, and he found a refrigerator, not a camping refrigerator, but
A full
it was
size.
it was an in-house refrigerator, but it was one of them round, kind of rounded corner jobs, from
Yeah.
the 60s or early 70s, and it was perfect. It fit right in there.
Wow.
worked out well. I asked him where, what, how it's, it got too old. It was on a permanent site for a long time.
Be careful picking up used equipment. Be very careful with used equipment. Make sure that you take care of that and clean it really well. American foul brood spores live a long time.
I don't know. Ryan might have picked up some new stuff, maybe.
What kind of a wax spinner?
Yeah, he's looking for a Max Ant wax spinner, I guess. Separator, honey separator.
Yeah, you mean an extractor?
Well, no, you put your wax cappings in there and it slings the honey out of the wax.
Yeah, like a basket.
Yeah, like a basket.
Yeah, as long as you know the beekeeper and she can tell you what happened to the bees that were in it, it's not a bad thing to do. But if you just go out and pick up used equipment from somebody you don't know, make sure you ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. I don't know. See, what have I picked up over the years? Not too many when it comes to boxes or anything like that. More hardware equipment and all, but usually my woodenware. I had one guy when I first started. He had extractor and gloves and different things and smoker but he wanted to sell these boxes too. And I looked at these boxes and I'm like, they're all they're good for is a bonfire. And then I got to looking at them and he had these numbers embossed in them. And I checked with the bee inspector that comes here was my beekeeper teacher. And she said, oh yeah, that's when you had American foul brood. They used to put it in this here clave thing, a tank that would radiate it or steam it or do something in there. And I forget what they did to kill the stuff. And then it got to the point where they lost their EPA license over it. And one of the guys in my club, he was going to redo the thing. And, he worked on it. And there's like, you're not going to get your EPA license for it. And it's like, well, just take it to the scrapyard. That's about all it's good for.
Yeah.
And it was some kind of a tank thing. And then I've heard some Westchester folks, there's a company somewhere in New Jersey that would radiate their boxes for them and stuff. I don't know. I just don't see where it's quite all that necessary. Depends on, where, like you say, if you're on top of your game as far as, keeping out American foul brood. I haven't seen any of it. I've had some Eastern European foul brood, but that was it.
Yeah, there's been quite a few cases of Eastern foul brood here in the state, and there's been a couple of cases of American foul brood here in the state.
Yeah, European. Yeah, Roy wants to know what you're going to have at the booth.
I'm going to have at the booth this year, Roy. I'm going to be selling Cybin extractors, Vanilla beehives, acorn frames, and foundation. That's what I'm concentrating on this year because everybody has woodenware down there. So
right.
I'm not dragging woodenware all the way to Louisville to have to bring it back home.
Are you taking anything down to Whitful, or you not have time
No,
to do?
I can't because I don't want to create a conflict of interest being the president of the state association.
Right. You say it's at a convention center down there of some sort?
Yep. It's at the Wistful Meeting Center. Right off
Whit-
80.
Whitful Meeting Center?
Yep.
I think I seen that on a map someplace. And all.
So the other thing we're going to be doing, Roy, is we'll be taking pre-orders for Acorn, and maybe some extractors and the nail hives as well. Matt and Sandy. Matt, Sandy Valley Honey Company. How you doing this evening? Everybody's good here in Virginia.
So it's at the college.
Yes, near the college. Yes. And Roy, yes, that's Acorn Foundation. And our booth is most likely going to be back to back with the Acorn booth, like it was last year.
I must have got off of 81 and got on the old road, Route 11 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not that far off 81. I think there's two exits that take you to it off of 81.
And there, when you go into Whitfield, isn't there when you get off of 81, there's a stone quarry off to your left? Am I thinking the right place?
Maybe. I don't know.
You can see
long,
it.
long time since I got off 81 at Wistful and gone into Wistful.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I know it's built up now. There's hotels around it. There's restaurants in the area and everything else.
Well, I think what it is that's the area of where 81, it kind of gets real wide through there, and 77 connects into it and all that. I'm thinking of a different place, I guess. And all. Maybe I was thinking of Marion.
You might be.
I don't know. I remember Whitful. And
Might want to know if there's a Cracker Barrel with.
yeah, there is. There's a Cracker Barrel, old country store.
Yep, there he is. Right there at the intersection of 77 and 11. At least we know where Charlie will be eating.
Well, the only reason I ate there in Louisville is that's the only place I know. It's right across the road. Everybody talks.
There was a good Mexican restaurant when you came out of the. I want to say Gate 4 of the convention center. There, it was right.
Well,
on-
that's where
right
that's
there
where
to the right.
the Hampton Inn is right there, or not the Hampton, but the Hilton Inn is right at Gate 4.
Yeah, and
That's where I stayed.
yeah, that's where I stayed too. And then we went to an Indian restaurant. I think it was the next. I think it was the third night we were down there. We went to an Indian restaurant. That's where everybody was going that night. They hadn't had that much business in a long time.
Yeah, I'm not into all that kind of food, to be quite honest with you.
Good night, DCBs. You have a great dinner. When you build that wax dipper, Roy, make sure that you've got a good set of plans from somebody that manufactures them all the time. If not, it's cheaper to buy one. And the wax dippers that you can buy now, you can dip through 2 to 3, maybe 4 boxes at a time, depending upon their size. But building one, it could get pretty dangerous. Yeah, I like my steak and potatoes too. So what kind of wax are you thinking about using it, Roy? Crystalline or beeswax? Or are you going to use it for frames and foundation? Yeah, that's a smart way to go. Crystalline wax. Night, Tar Heel. Oh, he's not leaving. DC's leaving. Boxes and pallets. That's going to be a big dipper.
What is it?
He's saying about dipping boxes and pallets. That's an awful big dipper if you're going to dip pallets. Because that wax is under pressure to force it into the wood. And if it boils over, you got
That's the problem I've seen where they boil over.
and they catch fire and everything else
That's right.
because they got that open flame gas underneath of them, so they can get them up to temperature.
That's it. I've been to Whitfield, but we ate at the Virginia Heights restaurant
Yep,
off 11.
yep.
We must have got, yeah, that's, yeah, we must have come in. Yeah, we must have come in off. We got off the interstate at 81 and got on 11 and took 11 around and went down into downtown Whitville and all. That's what we did.
I want to say Thor Equipment makes a wax dipper too.
Who does?
I think Thor Equipment is the one that makes the wax dipper. I know like Mark was saying, I know they sell the wax, but I think they make a dipper as well.
I don't know, but I can tell you that right now. You got the price of the wax machine, and then you're going to spend a ton of money in order to fill that thing with crystalline and all that.
A pallet of crystalline is between $2,000 and $2,500.
And then you got to figure on top of all that, the propane that you're going to use to heat that sucker.
Yep. And that was half a pallet, wasn't it? It took you 1,500
Carl there.
to fill it up. That's
Carl
about
there.
half a pallet of that wax.
Well, Carl there is 2B brats. He's got a major point right there.
Yep.
$1,500. I think I'll buy some paint and paint the freaking boxes. Be done with it.
Yeah.
Unless you're figuring on you're going to keep them boxes for the next 20 years or more.
Yeah. Or dip them with Eco Dip.
I've heard negative things about that, but I don't know whether that's really going to do you any good. I got boxes here that I've had for 15 years. I got one 10 frame bottom board that's rotted out. And I've had a 5 frame bottom board rotted out in 15 years. And then
That's pretty good.
I've had telecovers. Nah, they're sort of falling apart a little bit on some of the older ones. But and all that. And so Randy, you bought one, did you?
Yeah, see, these people, like Randy went out and bought one. He can go out and set up at a bee club meeting somewhere and offer to dip people's boxes for them, or have a Saturday or something like that to dip boxes for people. And he can recoup his costs that way. Or he won't.
Now there's a guy up here at Westchester, Pennsylvania. He's got a wax dipping tank. And he'll wax, I think it's like $5 a box to wax dip brand new equipment only.
Yep.
And that Tar Heel, that's right.
Yep.
First thing that guy does, he gets out there about 4:30 in the morning, 5 or maybe 3:30 in the morning, cranks the old fire up on that thing. I don't know whether it goes back to bed or not, but he's there all, at least 16 hours.
Yep.
Or maybe at least 12. And
he probably only gets 10 or 12, maybe 20, but maybe 15 boxes dipped.
I forget how many he can get in one session. I think it's about maybe 10 at the most.
Yeah.
All right. Randy's dipping for other people.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's the way to do it right there.
That's the thing to do it. You know, you can, if you come to Central, you know, there's a guy up the road here that's got a dipping butt tank. He said it costs too damn much to fill it.
Yeah.
And then Randy there, if he's got the time and where he can commercially bring him, you know, people are bringing him boxes at, let's say, $5 a pop. And rotting at 5 years old, man, that's quick. Yeah, none of my boxes rotten that bad.
Yeah. What are your boxes made of? Pine or cedar?
Mine
Right.
made out of pine. I've had, like I say, I've had a bottom board, 2 bottom boards go out on me. The tops are normally okay. And I might have one medium box where one of the corners, it's probably a bad spot in the wood itself on one of the corners there. I've seen it in logs where it gets kind of doty right there.
Yeah.
See there, Carl's got a guy where he just drops them off, pays the guy, comes back next day or two,
Fix them up.
picks them up. You know, it's like Brad up there in Canada. Now up there, wax dipping is a big thing. Everybody wax dips up there, their boxes.
Yeah.
But he takes it to the dipper, and that's all that guy does all day long. And the way I get it, he's got a vat up there that's got a wire cage, I'll say as big as a tote, 4x4 cage, maybe a 5x5 cage.
Yep.
Stacks all the boxes inside it. It's got wire all around the thing. It's got wire, you know, a top that comes down and they latch it or whatever. And then they just drop it down into that vat of that wax and stuff and then cook it for so many minutes, you know, in that maybe 10 or 15 minutes, something like that.
Yep.
And all that. Yeah, I mean, if you got some guy like Carl there, if I had a guy that's 30 minutes up the road or an hour up the road, yeah, I'd buy 30 boxes of whatever, 30 mediums, let's say, or something like that, and drop them off.
Yeah, we had a guy down here near Richmond that had a wax dipper. And he would take it to bee club meetings, or he would set up a day where people would bring their boxes and have them dipped. But it cost him so much money to do it that he wasn't recouping any costs by what he was charging. So he had to give it up.
How much was he charging, you know?
$5 a box. He wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
He wasn't even breaking even.
At that much. Depends, and it also depends on how fast you can do a turnaround, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Roy, you're right. But you'll need to advertise it. Go to the bee clubs and advertise at the bee clubs. Get them to put it on their Facebooks and websites. I don't know how many bee clubs are around you, but there's your market.
Well, I think you could, you know. All right, Randy, we'll catch you later.
Yep. Have a good evening.
I think we'll be probably shutting down pretty soon too, right, Bill?
Yeah. There's a lot going on tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just, people look at me. I got the lumber, the mill, the equipment, and whatever to make my own boxes. I'm like, it isn't worth my time.
No, it's not, because
I can go to a box maker, the Amish guy up the road here, or buy it from Man Lake or whatever.
Yep. By the time
And-
you figure your time doing it, the electricity, the lumber, and everything to do it, it's cheaper to buy 'em.
Right. I don't have a, what do you call it, a hand cutter or a handle cutting machine, and
Yep.
and then you really need a hauncher in order to make those box joints perfect.
Yep. I'm happy I was able to get on too. I'm glad we got it figured out. So thanks for coming in tonight.
So anyway,
Well, I think everybody's going.
yeah, it's getting late. It's a Monday night.
Yep, it's a Monday night. So I'm gonna take you up on that offer though, Charlie. Making you a night. Rand, Roy, you have a good evening. See you at the expo as well.
See you guys. I'll see you Friday night for sure. If not sooner. Maybe tomorrow night on Bob's.
Well, good night, everybody. Time to end this thing for this evening. And we'll talk to you next Monday night. If we might see you Friday night on Charlie's, I don't know. We'll see what's going on.
See y'all later.
Night.